Hey, good evening, and thank you for joining us for tonight's YouTube Live event with Camden Military Academy. I'm Casey Robinson, Director of Admissions, and I'll kind of be hosting the event tonight. But we also have 4 students that will be joining us tonight, and all 4 of these guys are seniors. And so we're going to be talking about what's next for them, also how Camden has kind of prepared them for the next level of education, as well as talk about our summer school a bit as well. So if you have any interest in Camden Military, you're going to want to stay tuned. These 4 young men are 4 of our finest, and they're going to be telling you the truth tonight, from whose decision it was to enroll at Camden to where they're going to school next year, and they're pretty excited about that too. Also, I want to make this a very informal open house or virtual open house tonight, but I want some participation from the audience. So if you're watching this, please send us some questions. You can do that with the hashtag Camden Military. If you're watching YouTube, you can put it right in the YouTube chat box. You can also, any of our social media, Twitter, Instagram, anything, just use that hashtag Camden Military. We're looking at that, and we'll get those questions posed to our students tonight. So we're going to kick it off tonight, letting these young men introduce themselves to you. They're going to tell you where they're from and how long they've been here at Camden. And we will start out with Cadet Martin.
Hi, I'm Nicholas Martin. I've been at Camden Military Academy for 2 years now, and I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee.
All right, and how about Duncan?
Hi, my name is Andrew Duncan. I've been in Camden for 5 years, and I've pretty much loved my experience here. I'm from Bowling Springs, South Carolina.
All right. And then we'll go over to Alfredo.
Hi, my name is Johan Alfredo. I'm from Scarsdale, New York, and this is my 3rd year at CMA.
All right, and then Cadet Larson.
Hi, I'm Will Larson. I've been going here for 3 years now, and I'm from Bradenton, Florida.
All right, guys. So you have our participants tonight, and you can see they're coming from different parts of the country. We do have students this year from 36 states and 16 different countries. So our population comes from all over the world, and we're very proud of that. A big diversity, a lot of diversity here on our campus. Now, I want to kind of get back to these guys because I know they're excited about graduation. May 20th is graduation day for us, and some of these guys have it down to how many days in a wake up. So, but I just want to touch base real quickly. All of them are going to college next year. I just want them to basically tell you where they're going to school and kind of what their plans are for the future. And we'll start out with Johan.
Hi. So my plans after Camden is I plan to go to Stony Brook University, and it is located in Long Island, New York. And I plan studying business management there and hopefully getting into sales later on in life.
All right, Duncan, how about you?
My plans after Camden is mainly just to go into the Citadel to be able to work for criminal investigations, and to hopefully after college be able to work for the criminal investigation department for the military.
All right, cool. And Cadet Martin.
My goal after CMA is to go to the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, and get a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering, and then hopefully one day work for BMW. It's my ultimate goal.
All right. It's hard for me to agree with that University of Tennessee, that orange color, I tell you. All right, let's go over to Will Larson. What's your plans?
I'm planning to go to University of Florida in Gainesville, and I think I'm going to start doing pre-med over there, so hopefully I could be a doctor sometime in the future. It's going to be a lot of education.
Right. It will be. All right, guys. Well, and also, I guess Florida has that orange, but, you know, they do throw in enough blue that I can at least deal with it. They're in the Southeastern Conference, but, you know, Tennessee, just too much orange. All right. So I want to talk about how Camden has prepared you for the next step. What things have you guys picked up here at Camden that may help you be successful at the next level? So, Johan, tell me, how's Camden helped prepare you to go to Stony Brook and be successful?
Well, Camden helped me prepare in many ways. It helped me build my studying habits. Before I came to Camden, I wouldn't do my homework as often. I'd still do my homework, but it wasn't on a consistent basis. But when I came to Camden with the study halls, it really helped me get a habit going, and I was able to really learn studying habits. And that's going to prepare me for going into college, because when I go there, I'm just going to be able to keep those studying habits and then be able to push through with those.
Good job. Now, how about let's ask Will Larson, same question.
I think it's really been about self-discipline. Whenever we talk about the school, about what it's done for me, it's always been about self-discipline. Really, when I first came to this school, like you had somebody like telling you that you had to do things, but when you go to college, it's not really how people are going to be looking at you. It's really, you have to be able to say, hey, I have to study now. And as opposed to like playing a video game or going to like a baseball game or something, that's what really has really impacted me.
All right. Now, Cadet Duncan, I've got a different question for you. I want you to tell me, looking back over your years, you've been here for what, 5 years, right? So
5 years.
what's the most challenging part looking back over your years at Camden? What's the hardest thing to get used to, or tell us about that?
Well, I would say the hardest part about Camden is just the waking up and being able to get right to work right as you start. Because some people, or people that aren't at Camden, they normally just wake up and they sit at their bedside and wait. We here at Camden, we wake up and we're hitting the floor. We're ready to go.
Yeah, I hear from parents sometimes talking about they have to go in their kids' room 4 or 5 times to wake them up in the morning. Will that happen at Camden?
No, you will get up
Right.
the first time they ask you.
Exactly. All right.
My parents
And
used to
let's
do that to me all the time.
go ahead. Oh, yeah. All right. Cadet Martin, same question. What was kind of a big challenge for you at Camden, and how did you overcome it?
A big challenge for me was really getting all this drill and ceremonies getting thrown at me, because I mean, in the outside, you don't really do that. You don't think, oh, I need to do a special movement to go right. I don't need to do a special thing to turn around. But here, it's really just like all formal. You need to pay attention to detail, and your uniforms every day, you need to make sure that they're looking right, which things you just don't really pay attention to on the outside. So definitely paying attention to details and making sure everything looks perfect all the time. That's definitely something I had to get used to.
All right, cool. And Johan, we'll ask you the same question. What was a big challenge that you had to overcome when you first got here to Camden?
The biggest challenge was getting used to a bunch of the different accents, honestly, because we have a bunch of people coming in from everywhere. But besides that, really the biggest challenge was just meeting new people right from the start. But I was able to overcome that by going to summer school, and I met some people there before I went to the school year.
Good. And we're going to talk about summer school. So I'm glad you threw that out. I just want to remind everybody about that. Summer school is coming. And we need some questions from our viewers. So I'm hoping that you guys will start submitting those. Again, you can post it right in the chat on YouTube. You can use the hashtag Camden Military, and you can put that on any of our social media accounts, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can also snap us, Camden Military. So we're ready for your questions. So get them into us. All right, guys, I want to talk next a little bit about school, because we are, a school, educational institution. I want to talk about your grades prior to Camden and now. So let's see, Duncan, we'll start with you. How are your grades at home, and then how are they now?
Well, in school, my grades weren't the best. They were about C's, higher D's. But whenever I came here to Camden, at first it took me a minute to get the study habits down and be able to actually get the homework in on time every single day. But once I got the hang of it, it came along quickly. And whenever I got that, I started making A's and B's. I started doing better on my tests. The classes were a lot smaller, so I was able to get more help from my teachers, just the whole 9 yards.
Great. All right. And how about Martin? Same question for you.
Academic wise, back at my old school, it was always a feel that I needed to stay with my peers and take really difficult classes, which I knew I could take. It's just I really didn't have the motivation personally to be successful in those. So my grades really started to slip before I came here, and I ended up having D's, C's, and then even in some classes F's because I just didn't have the commitment or will to do it. But here at Camden, I still have that environment where my friends and peers push me to do the best classes I can because I'm taking a lot of college classes now. I think I'm taking about 4 this semester, and I took 5 last semester. And I'm now doing much better, being much more successful. I have A's and B's, and just I see my grades have strongly improved, and I can really thank Camden for that.
Great, great. And Larson, how about yourself? How are your grades prior to Camden?
They were not the best because I just kind of neglected to do them. I knew I was a smart kid, but it was really just getting down to sit there and just be able to just do it and get the homework done and study for the test. I was just totally just wanted to play video games or do something else with my time, like any person. But with going here, I learned how to just sit down and be able to just do the homework and actually learn to like doing homework, learning to like to learn, as opposed to just doing that. And I excelled so much, and now I'm second in my class, and I couldn't have done that if I would have kept going the way I was going back at public school.
Awesome. All right. Now, Johan, I'm going to ask you a slightly different question. Looking back over your time here at Camden, what's something that you feel like you've seen change in yourself? What were you kind of like before? Maybe not just academics, but as the whole man concept that we like to talk about. How have you grown or changed since you've been here at Camden?
Well, besides physically, so what I learned about, well, I really learned how to be more honest with my peers. Back at home, I wouldn't be completely truthful with the friends that I had. I wouldn't always tell them, stories and all that. And I didn't have full trust in them. But here, really, we all live together. So we really get to know each other. So we have each other's back. And so honesty is really something that I got better towards. And we realized really not to lie to your friends, because here you really get caught for it. So.
All right. And how about Martin? Can you answer that same question? How have you seen yourself kind of grow or change since you've been here at Camden?
I've definitely seen myself become much more responsible, not just academically, but also just getting things done in general, just having the self-motivation to do things that I wouldn't have before. Like before, I really didn't have much interest in extracurricular activities or doing much besides just staying at home and really just being with myself. But here, it's really motivated me, and I've really wanted to get out there and learn new things, and join groups and clubs, and that's really how I've grown.
All right, great. Well, that was a perfect segue into the next question we have. So I want to talk a little bit about extracurricular activities that we have here at Camden. We have a myriad of sports, 13 different sports you can choose from. We want you to be involved in those, but we also have intramurals, a weight room, several different ways to stay physically fit, physically active while you're here. And the more plugged in you're into the school, the more successful the student generally is. All right, we have our first question off of Twitter coming in from Jen. And she wants to know, how military is it actually at Camden? How military is it? All right, Johan, we'll go with you on that one. How military is Camden Military Academy?
Well, military is in our name, so we do have military aspects in our school, of course. But military-wise, we wake up and we have to clean our rooms to military standards, which means beds have to be really smooth and there has to be hospital corners. And the uniforms we wear are military uniforms, and we also have to make sure we're wearing them the right way. We can't just throw on our shirts and throw on our pants and then just walk outside. We have to make sure that the uniform, all buttons are buttoned, there's no stains on the shirt, and we also have to shine our shoes pretty often. And something that we also have that is military is we also go to 3 formations every day to go to every meal. And a formation is the whole company, which we have 5 in this school. There's about 60 people in each one. We go out to a formation. There's leaders in front of the formation, and then they pretty much give commands. They do a bunch of different things, and then we go inside and eat. And we also do military dress parades about once a month. And that's, I guess, a wrap up of our military stuff.
Yeah. You know, I have that question a good bit from parents that call for information about the school, or when they even come to visit, they'll ask me, you know, how military is Camden? I say on a scale of 1 to 10, you'll find us somewhere in the middle, 5 or 6. You know, this is not a school where it's going to be drop and give me 20, but the day is very structured, a lot of organization, of course, the uniforms, the haircuts. So it is definitely military, much more than a country club or your typical boarding school, but not to that producing soldier level material. We're not there yet. We're still dealing with teenagers here at Camden. All right, so I'm going to go back in. I got excited when I got a question, so keep those questions coming in. Hashtag Camden Military on any of our social media accounts, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can snap us at Camden Military. You can also post it right there on YouTube, and we will get to those questions. But I want to go back and talk about extracurricular activities and leadership that you pick up here at Camden. Cadet Martin, tell me a little bit about extracurricular activities. You brought it up a moment ago, so tell me some clubs that you're involved in, and you know, some sports maybe that you played here at Camden.
Well, I've been involved with soccer for 2 years now, and I recently this year became a part of a club organization that's not just in Camden, but also outside junior leadership. And only 5 cadets were chosen, and we had to be recommended by teachers. And it's an organization where you really build your leadership skills and learn a lot about not just Camden, but also about like the world and how it works and how to really grow. And that was I really enjoyed doing that. And when I wasn't at soccer, I would be doing intramurals, which we have every Tuesday and Wednesday after classes, and for about 45 minutes. And we just play sports, either flag football or frisbee. And I also catch myself in the weight room occasionally and just really hanging out with my friends.
All right. And Cadet Larson, tell me a little bit about your extracurricular activities.
So on a normal given day, I have to deal with debate team as well as Civil Air Patrol, where I'm the cadet commander of that, and I'm also in Key Club, which is a community service organization. I have been a part of junior leadership as well. I was on it last year, which was very fortunate to be on. And hopefully I am trying to make here like a recycling club, kind of recycling program here at the school, maybe next year, throwing that out there, you know.
Yeah, actually Cadet Larson wrote a grant for the school to recycle, correct? And so we've got some bins around the school that he has here. So proud of him for taking that initiative and winning that grant for us. Now I want to talk about leadership. So to go talk about leadership, we're going to talk to Johan Alfredo. He's actually the battalion commander, the BC, and that means he's the highest ranking cadet here on campus. It's taken a lot to kind of get to that point. So I want him to talk about the leadership role he has here at Camden.
Well, to start with leadership, typically what people ask is, how do you get into a leadership position at the school? And best thing I can say is you really just have to do the right thing and make sure that you observe the leaders that are around you. You observe which ones can be bad and then which ones are the better ones, because there's always one person better than another. And something that my role as the battalion commander, I have to do an inspection called honor company inspection, and I have to grade all the 5 companies at the school to see which one has the highest standards, which one's the cleanest, which one's, you know, doing their homework right. No people are getting written up, marching the best, just a whole long list of a bunch of different things. And really what it does is the competition really builds a brotherhood bond between the company, because all the cadets have to work together towards a common goal. And also if they win, they get to sleep in till 8:30 on the weekdays instead of having to wake up at 6. Or sometimes they even go out on movie trips, or the whole company can have a cookout. So it's really things that get us motivated to work towards things. And the leadership, really, this school taught me the most I could learn about leadership. I mean, back at my public school, the only thing I could have learned about leadership was just being in a small club. But here, our school is pretty much our life. So leadership applies to us every day.
All right. And then Cadet Duncan, I want you to talk about leadership as well. I mean, you've been here for 5 years, so you've experienced a lot of leadership, and you're in a leadership role now. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
Actually, I'm over in Bravo Company, which is one of the 5 companies, and I'm a platoon sergeant for 1st Platoon, and I've been platoon sergeant for just 1 year. I didn't start off this year as platoon sergeant. I had to work for a little bit, and yes, I've been here for 5 years, and I've lost some opportunities and I've gained some opportunities. But this year, I'm looking to hold on to my platoon sergeant and be able to forward my education and other people's education and helping them in anything that they might need. If anybody really needs anything, they usually come to me. I'm usually the person that they go to as their platoon sergeant. But me being a 5th year platoon sergeant, usually people, they don't look at my past really. They look at how I'm doing now. But other than that, it's pretty good.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I like that what you just said, not looking at your past and looking ahead, because that's what we do at Camden. You know, what's done is done. If you've made C's and D's at home, we can't do a whole lot to fix that other than retake the course. But we can certainly, you know, prepare for the future and make sure that we're having success. You know, get those good grades, get them into good colleges like these guys are going to next year. We do have a question from YouTube.
Can I add to that, Casey?
Yeah, go ahead.
Something about how people aren't being, you know, we help them. We don't look at their past. There's something that we have a punishment thing. It's like PAD. And if you get in trouble and because you did something wrong, something like disrespect, and then the TAC officers notice that you're doing better and, you know, you're being more respectful and you're doing the right thing, but you're still walking the pad for it, as in like you're losing all of your free time marching for those things because of the tours you have. The TAC officers can also take off all those tours if they see you're improving. So they can take off all those extra ones that you had to do.
Yeah, so it always pays to work hard and look ahead versus just dwelling on maybe what went wrong, right? Yeah. So interesting question off YouTube. So it says, what's the worst part of CMA? What's the worst part of CMA? That's pretty a hard hitter there. So let's go to Cadet Martin for that one.
Well, definitely the worst part about CMA has to be, besides the early wake up, which I mean is a given, but all the marching that we have to do, which I mean is during the meals sometimes, that can be a little bit hard to get used to, and you really don't like it at the beginning. But once you get into a leadership position, like all of us are, you realize that it's necessary to build your character and really build you as a person, and just have to do things sometimes that you don't like doing. But marching is definitely one of those.
All right. And how about Duncan? Tell me that. What's the worst part of CMA?
I mean, there's not a lot that's, you know, really bad about it, but it's mainly like Martin said, it's the marching and maybe the time management. You got to find the time to be able to get everything in that you might want to do during the day, such as, you know, you have free time and you can go out do these things, but you have to be back at a certain time. So you have to be able to time manage. And I just feel like that might be the worst part for me.
All right. I'm shocked. Neither one of you guys said there are no girls here. You know, that's usually a big complaint.
Yeah, I was about to say that. No one said
it. All right. I have another question from YouTube. It says, do you still get to talk to your family and how often? So, Larson, we'll let you answer that one.
I mean, after the first couple weeks where they do take our phones, we get them back and we could still talk to our family. We could still talk. It's not talk to my family. It's really, we have a good relationship now.
All right, good. All right, well, summer sit, because we did have some viewers tuning in for summer school, and we've having some people chatter about that right Okay, are we back?
Yeah.
All right. So sorry about that. We're going to go to summer school is what we were talking about, and I'm going to let Johan Alfredo talk about summer school a little bit. So Johan, when you came here the first year, tell me what was summer school like, and was it beneficial for you to attend summer prior to actually enrolling here for the school year?
So summer school for me, what my parents told me is before they dropped me off, I really want to go because I was giving up my summer. They said get to know the campus. I didn't really know what they meant at first, but that's just what they told me. So I went there and I took classes. I think took chemistry and some math class. I don't even remember. But anyway, it was for the first half of the day, you had a 3-hour period where you learned your first period, and then the second half of the day was 3 hours of your second period. And between each hour, you had a 10-minute break. So really didn't really pile up on me as what I thought it was. But afterwards, during summer school, I was able to have the free time afterwards, and I got to meet people that were actually here during the school year, like Andrew Duncan, who's sitting in with us today. He was actually one of my first friends at Camden, and I got to meet people, and he kind of told me before I got into the school what I need to do, what I need to be ready for, and how, maybe to get positions and how to get rank and make it through. Ooh.
Yeah. All right. Now, I also get the question, we call our program a non-military summer school. So that means that you don't have to wear uniforms and you don't have to wear a haircut. But Duncan, can you talk to us a little bit about that? Was it easier coming in, not having to get your hair cut short and not having to go into a uniform versus enrolling in the school year and, you get your hair cut and you get a uniform?
Oh no, it was much easier. It was more it was kind of like a boarding school without uniforms, not having to get the haircut. But it just seemed much easier over because you didn't have to. It just wasn't as military as the normal school year. It was, you still had a little kind of formation just to be able to get everybody together to be able to have some sort of organization.
Yeah. And that's what I tell my families about our summer program. For the high school students, it's very academically intense. I mean, you're taking, like Johan said, a little over 3 hours in the morning and another 3 hours in the afternoon. For the middle school guys, not so academically intense. They're going to be going to classes in the morning, taking math, English, and science. But then in the afternoon, they do some type of fun camp activities. So it's a nice blend for them. But for the students that are coming for high school, you've got class all day and study hall at night. So you've got to, buckle down and be ready to go. Weekend trips, I want to talk about that a little bit because summer we do have some fun for our 7-day boarders. So, hey, Larson, tell me, what was your favorite weekend trip we took during the summer, and, tell us a little bit about it.
Let me think. There was a bunch of cool ones. I always remember the weekends, which is always super fun. I was always just looking forward towards the weekend. Probably the whitewater rafting was the most fun experience I had, just because we got to go like paddleboarding and mountain biking and whitewater rafting, and there was just so much stuff to do. And I was my little mind, little pre-sophomore brain was just freaking out. It was like, all this stuff, I can go mountain biking for 3 hours. Let's go.
Yeah. Funny. All right. And Duncan, how about you? What was your favorite trip for summer school?
I think it had to have been the Carowinds trip, because my summer school with Alfredo was a while back, and to me it was the Carowinds trip. I just really loved roller coasters and the movies that we got to go see every Sunday, because on Saturday we would have the trip, and then on Sundays we would go watch a different movie every week. And to me, those were the favorite parts of my weekend.
All right, great. Now I want to kind of transition back over to the school year for a second and talk about electronics. I get a lot of questions about electronics, and we had a question come in on one of the platforms about electronics. So we will throw this one to Cadet Martin. Tell me a little bit about your, can you have a cell phone? Can you have video games?
Well, when you first come to Camden, how I was explained why they do this, your phone gets taken for the first 2 weeks. And how my TAC officer explained it to me is that this is a time where you really need to adjust yourself to this new school and like the new lifestyle that you're going to be living in for the rest of the year. And I think that really helped me to have gotten my phone taken for that short period. I wouldn't have been motivated to go out, meet new people in my company, and really build the friendships that I still have today with a few of the people in my company. And overall, you are allowed to have a TV in your room. I believe the maximum is 22-inch screen, and you can have a gaming system. And you're allowed to use those during free time and use those as you want. You get in trouble, the TAC officers can take them away, and that's just kind of a motivation.
Hey, we're back. Okay. Having some technical
Third time's the
difficulties for
charm.
sure. Yeah, technology is great until it doesn't work. All right.
Yeah.
So who was answering that question? I actually forgot.
Me.
Okay.
Where did I leave off?
Who knows? We're talking about electronics, video games. The cell phone, I think the 2 weeks with no cell phone, maybe?
Oh, geez, all the way back there.
The TAC officers.
Yes. Well, pretty much that 2 weeks period is just a time where instead of just sitting in your room sulking, oh, I came to a military school on your is less of a punishment than more of an opportunity for you to get out in your company and meet new people and really build some good friendships that are going to last you for the entire year. And other electronics wise, you're allowed to have one TV in your room, about 22-inch screen, maximum size, I believe. And you're allowed to have a gaming system if you bring one from home. And those you're allowed to use during your free time. But if you do get in trouble with your TAC officers or your chain of command, you can get those taken away. So that's kind of a motivation for you to do what's right so that you can keep your video games.
Exactly. And that's kind of what I tell people when they, ask about the video games. Yes, we allow those, we allow the cell phones, but, with those privileges come great responsibility. So we want to make sure that, if you bring those electronics, that you're using them appropriately and responsibly. And we give you plenty of rules, and go over it during orientation and your cadet blue book to let you know exactly when and how you can use those. So just make sure you follow the rules and there won't be any problems there. We did have a question come in from YouTube as well that said, coming from public school to a military school is definitely a bit of a transition, but how long did it take before you felt like you were at home or felt like that, you were okay? We'll start with Johan.
Well, as you know, I'd say the first time I called this place home, not my first year. I think it was the beginning of no, it was my first year after my spring break. The spring break, which is our last break that we have before the end of the year. Normally when I would leave campus, I'd be like finally going home, and then when I'd get back, I'd be like, man, I'm back here again. But then I remember coming back from that break, and I took a picture of the Camden sign, and it said, and I wrote back home. And really, what made me change my mindset is whenever I sat at home, I would get super bored, not really have anything to do, because here I'm always busy doing something, whether it's working out, running, or doing my homework. I'm always doing something. And when I'm at home, I just sit down and I become super unproductive just thinking about what I'm supposed to be doing. So that's really what made me change my mindset.
All right, good. Yeah, and it is a bit of a transition. People, we're used to young men not being thrilled or excited about attending a military school. So that's nothing new to us. And these young men that I have tonight, they didn't wake up one morning and say, "Oh boy, I can't wait to enroll in military school." So they realize maybe that's what. Well, rather than me talk, let me ask them. Cadet Martin, how did you realize, or how did you choose or decide to come to Camden?
Oh, well, as you said, I didn't roll out of bed one day and say, "Oh boy, military school, let's do it." But just it really just was the events that really rolled together and added up through my freshman and junior year that really made it inevitable that I had to come here. And my parents, they showed me the option to come here, and they said, "So you have the option to come here and better yourself, or you have the option to stay home and better yourself." And I just didn't really see myself finding motivation to better myself on my own at home. So really, I just said, "All right, I need something new. I'm going to try it at military school. What can go wrong?" And I really haven't regretted that decision.
Great. And Duncan, same question for you. You were a bit younger when you started here, but how did you come to find Camden, and why did you choose to enroll?
Well, my parents actually showed it to me on a weekend. So I didn't really have, they showed it to me on a Friday. And they said, you have by Sunday to decide what you want to do. And during that weekend, they showed me all the trips that I want to go, or that I'm able to go on during the school year. And they said, any one of the trips that you want to go on, you can. So I was thinking over the weekend, and I told my parents, hey, it's something new. I can restart, go to a new school, and be able to better myself in the long run. And so I told them that, and then me not thinking, I didn't get to tell all of my friends back home, see ya, hey, I'm going to military school or this place. And so I kind of missed it a little bit, but coming here was my main decision, just to be able to forward myself in my education.
Awesome. All righty. I want to remind the viewers, if you have some questions, get them to us using the hashtag Camden Military on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can put it right there on YouTube in the chat. We'll get to those. Please participate. Keep the questions coming. It's very interesting to have new questions coming. I want to talk a little bit about open houses that we have coming up. If you're interested in meeting us on the road, maybe we have open houses all around the country. In the month of June, we're very busy. We'll be in Savannah, Georgia. We'll be all over the state of Florida and West Palm Beach, Orlando, Tampa, Naples. So look online, CamdenMilitary.com. Find if we're going to be at a city near you. We're actually going to be out in Vegas coming up here next week. So we do travel the country looking to meet families. So just give us a call here for more information, or again, visit CamdenMilitary.com for all the dates. All right, guys, I want to kind of swing back towards graduation because, you guys are seniors and you're getting ready to leave me. So I want to talk a little bit more about, looking back over your time here at Camden. Is there one person, maybe a teacher, friend, somebody who's kind of helped you get through this year or these last few years while you've been here at Camden that maybe you want to give a shout out to? And we'll start out with Will Larson on that one.
It's got to be Colonel Thorpe, sir. Colonel Robert Thorpe. Shout out to him. My first week here for the actual school year, I was assigned over there as an admin NCO. I had to do company clerk duties, which is basically keeping together. And then I also had to do admin NCO duties, which is keeping all the paperwork for the entire battalion together with the battalion S1 and another admin NCO. And just working with Colonel Thorpe, he's the funniest person, and he goes through so much paper. And he's such a good person, made so many good friends through him, and he's taught me not only how to wear my uniform perfect, but how to be a better person. So Colonel Robert Thorpe, Bob Thorpe, love that man.
All right. And how about Johan? How about you? Somebody that's maybe stood out to you in your high school career.
Well, it's hard for me to choose one, but this might hurt some people's feelings. I would have to give the biggest shout out to Sergeant Major Green. He's always been there alongside. He's my TAC officer in Band and Staff Company. And really, just since I was here, I always got along with Sergeant Major Green. I always found it hilarious when he would start laughing because, I don't know, if you guys live in Band and Staff, you guys would know what Sergeant Major Green's laugh is like. And he's just a great guy. He's always the type of person that I could always go sit down, have a nice talk with. Whenever I had a problem, I could talk to him about it. And then also about future plans, I could go up to him wondering about, hey, what should I do about this? And then what should I do about that so that I can make myself better in this next thing? So I really appreciated everything that he's done for me.
All righty. And how about Martin? Your turn.
For sure, one person, my French teacher from last year, he's also my soccer coach, Coach for Johnny. He's definitely somebody who helped me get through my first year, because in his class, we still learn a lot of French, and it's a good curriculum, but also he takes time to just talk with us and kind of joke around with us a little bit and just ask us how our day's going. And also with him being my coach, I built a good relationship with him. And whenever I just need somebody to talk to or just want to say hi, how you doing, just walk into his classroom, talk to him for a couple minutes, and it really just brightens my mood and makes me happier for the rest of the day. And also with my decision to come back this year, I talked to him a lot about that because I wasn't sure if I needed to or wanted to come back. And he really just talked to me about it and told me to think about if I can really go back home and go back to doing what was right or just keep doing how I was doing here. And he really just helped me think to myself, okay, maybe I do need to come back and finish it out for my senior year just to keep myself going on a good streak.
All right. And Cadet Duncan, you get your turn too.
Probably the most influential person would have to be Miss Alice Thaxton. She's always been there for me. She's always brightened my day up. She's always provided candy. She always has candy in hand. And I would go to her in my early years. I would always go to her room and ask her for a piece of candy. And I would always try and sneak an extra one in. And she'd always get on to me for that. But she would always she was the first person I would see in the morning, just about whenever I'd go to school. And she'd always give me candy, and it helped. For some reason, it would help me throughout my day. It would be able to, she was the reason I came back each year, mainly.
Great, great. And see, I love to hear these stories because, people sometimes ask what differentiates Camden from other military schools. And we have a very tight-knit family type atmosphere here at Camden. Even from the moment you drive on campus, you don't go through a guard shack, you don't go through gates. Campus, there's green space, there's trees, heck, there's dogs and cats running around. So, we care about these students and the students care about us. It's a really unique situation, and we really love the school, and for that very reason. Now, guys, I want you to talk about your parents for a second. For most of you, it was their decision. They found us, and here you are. Would you say that they kind of got what they wanted out of Camden? Are they proud of you now? What's your relationship with your parents? And we'll start out with Johan.
Well, my parents sent me here, and they kind of sent me here because they said, Johan, you suck. You need to get better. And, I'm not sure. They probably did not ever expect me to do. I'm sure they expected me to do easy and go off and, just go to college and be able to, make it through high school. I think their goal was for me to make it through high school, but really with all the achievements that I've achieved now, they're really shocked. They're really like, wow, I didn't know, Johan, you were capable of all these things. I didn't know that you had leadership skills, and I told them I didn't know either. I guess I was just meant to be. I don't know.
Yeah, and I remember I met Johan at an open house when we traveled around the country. I actually met him in New York, in Manhattan, and he certainly changed from the boy he was that day to the young man he is now. Been quite a transformation, and I actually received an email from your father today that you don't even know about that was actually telling me those very things about how proud he was. So good job. All right, Martin, how about you? What's your relationship like with your parents now?
To be honest, before I came to Camden, I mean, obviously I still had a good relationship with them, but with me going down a wrong path school-wise and just not being motivated to do much, like I really just felt like a split coming between me and my parents, and just not really having the motivation to do stuff at home either, like just regular family stuff, like not even going to dinners and stuff and just stay in my room. But ever since I came to Camden and my parents like showed me the school, I've really grown with my relationship with my parents, and I really learned to appreciate them and appreciate what they do for me. And they've noticed me grow as an individual too. My parents told me after my first year, when I was leading the parade at the end of the year as the company commander of Alpha, they told me how much I'd grown and how much I had grown up, not just physically, but also mentally. And every single day, if I can, I will call them on the phone and just talk to them about how my day was. And I really think my relationship's grown.
Awesome. All right, and we have a question from Facebook now. It says, what's the average tenure of a student at Camden? I'll take that one. It's usually 2 years for most students. They tend to come in, stay with us for 2 years, and then go back into the public school environment or their private day school at home. Most students that are here for at least 2 years, we don't hear back from. Sometimes families want to come in for a semester or for a year and then transfer back home. We usually end up getting a phone call back saying, hey, you guys were right, we need to come back to Camden. So usually 2 years. However, the students that start with us in the 10th grade typically end up graduating with us. So that's the only little caveat to that. Then also we have a question on Twitter. Did any of you guys start here as a junior? No? All right. Oh, Martin. Okay, good. So we'll ask you this question. As coming in as a junior, how hard or how fast can you rise up in the ranks here at Camden?
Well, that's also very dependent on which company you go into. But last year, as everybody else does, I started as a private. And for the first half of the year, I stayed as a private. But my chain of command noticed that I was doing what was right, learning fast, and just doing right in the company. And I believe it was the general order. That's where we earn our ranks. We have about 4 or 5 of those throughout the year. The one before spring break, the last break before we don't have any, and then the end of the year, I got corporal, and I got an assistant squad leader position. And I was really happy with that. And it's one of the lower ranks in the company, but so I didn't really expect to earn much from that after graduation. But at the end of the year graduation ceremony, I earned executive officer of Alpha Company. And that was a big surprise to me, but my company chain of command really told me that I earned it. So you can really rise up through the chain of command very fast if you just do what's right. Learn from the seniors who've been there before you, and yeah, just go with the flow.
Thank you for that. All right, we have another question from YouTube. It says, how diverse is the student staff population? And then how is discipline handled? All right, I'm going to take the student staff diversity, and then I'm going to throw the discipline question out to one of you guys, so be thinking about that. But the about 24% minority students here, all non-white students. Again, 36 states, 38 states, 16 countries here at Camden. So a lot of diversity as far as regional, but also ethnically, religions. Just about every religion you can imagine is represented here in Camden, with Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, of course, all your Christian, Catholic, Jewish. So a lot of diversity here in Camden, as well as the staff. We have retired military guys that are coming in as part of our teaching staff, mainly sticking to the ROTC classes and the TAC officers. But then we also have females here on campus that those are the only females on campus, are those teachers. They're going to be usually working with the middle school age students. But we do have some of those ladies around that, you know, do serve as kind of the mom or grandmom role to some of these guys while they're here. Now, as far as discipline, we do not have corporal punishment. We don't beat you. We don't restrict food and water. But what we might do is make you march the pad, which stands for punishment and discipline, and march tours on that pad. So we're going to let Cadet Duncan, why don't you tell them what a tour is and how you might earn a tour?
Well, there's certain ways to earn a tour. One of them could be disrespect or simply denying what you need to do, which would go along the lines of a failure to follow instructions. And walking a tour is pretty boring, very boring. You grab a stock rifle, which is a plastic rifle shape with a metal rod that goes through it, and you march in a large square in front of the chapel next to the admin building. And you'll do that for an hour and a half. And whenever you do an incident which gives you tours, the special order, which is read out at lunch or in the morning, depending if we have enough time for it, it'll be read out in front of the battalion. So then you know, and everyone else knows, that you have tours and you have to go out at 4 o'clock every single day and 2 o'clock on Saturdays and Sundays to march.
It gets old really fast, doesn't it?
Very fast. It's very
Yes.
fast.
All right. Another question coming in about ADD and ADHD. First of all, we have about a third of our new students each year diagnosed with ADD or ADHD. A lot of those take meds, and the question was actually pertaining to medication. Do any of you guys take any daily medications for anything? Not sure.
Other than allergies?
I take melatonin to sleep.
Yeah, I have
Yeah, well, you don't have to tell
allergy
what you
medicine, so-
take, but you don't have to tell what you take. But just I wanted to talk about how it's given to you. You know, for example, we have 3 nurses on staff. They actually keep in contact with parents about refills and things like that. But then they actually take the medication to the barracks to the boys. So these guys don't have to worry about going over and remembering to walk to the infirmary to take it. It's actually given to them in the barracks. So that's helpful. They're not allowed to keep any pills or medication on them in the barracks. So yeah, that works with the nurses will work with the parents as far as refills, and then the boys are not responsible for it. The actual nurses actually come over and bring it to them. Now guys, I want to know, who can tell me first, how many days and a wake up do we have left?
25.
Got everyone's answer at one time. All right. Now, tell me, kind of in closing, we're starting to kind of close things down, but tell me, what's something you're going to miss at Camden? I know, you know, a lot of you guys, you'll appreciate it later. You know, a lot of guys aren't appreciating things right now. We went to a reunion this past weekend, and there were a lot of guys reminiscing about a lot of things that they were missing. But just looking back over your time, whether it's been 1 year or 5 years, tell me something you're going to miss. Larson, we'll start with you.
Probably the brotherhood, honestly. It's really how I got so close to the people around me, like my friend Andrew Levine, and even like Johan and members of staff. I've gotten so close to them, and it's going to really be kind of sad when I leave, because we're going to go all across the country, and I'm probably not going to see a lot of them again, and it really makes me kind of sad the more I think about it.
All right. How about Fredo? Your turn.
Well, yeah, just like Larson said, I mean, I've known Larson for 3 years now, and really it's just like the brotherhood. When people come here, you know, we all know what you're about to go through, and we all know how it is to be at Camden, how it can be, you know, different at first, but we all know how it is. We all have this common knowledge about how you want to be treated, how you want to treat each other, and then I don't know, we just have this unspoken. It's not something that we talk about, how we're all connected. It's just something that it just happens. And then I'm really just gonna miss the people and the friends I met here.
All right. And Martin, how about you?
I hate to be repetitive, but it's definitely just the friendships and some other things that I'm really gonna miss that not just this school offers, but really high school in general are the athletics. And because this is gonna be my last year playing soccer, because I'm not gonna be playing soccer in college, and really just the sports and like the bond that you get with your teammates and just the joy of the sport itself, which obviously I can go out and play on my own or do intramurals that they offer at my college, but it's still not going to be the same as the feeling when you're playing in a game you want to win, and when you win, just that feeling.
All right. And Cadet Duncan, what will you miss?
They pretty much hit all the points, every single point. It's the same thing as brotherhood. It just keeps coming back to that. You know, I've been here for 5 years. I've known a lot of people. I've lost a lot of people that have come and gone very quickly that were my friends. But like Alfredo, Larson, and Martin said, I'm good friends with all of these people. Um, I'm gonna miss everyone here, especially the techs, the staff, teachers, everyone.
Okay. Now, guys, we're gonna end with kind of a tough question, but I want everyone to kind of answer it. Doesn't have to be a long answer, but just give me an answer for it. If you could go back and talk to a younger you, so talk to yourself prior to Camden, what would you say? What would you tell a younger Will Larson? We'll start with you.
Probably just get up. Like, the hardest part for me was really just waking up and putting, like Duncan, like just getting up and going to do stuff. That was the hardest part for me. And being able to just take criticism and being able to tell myself, hey, it's time for me to do this. It's really like when I look back on it, I could have done a lot of things a lot better, and I should probably tell myself to just like take it easy. It's gonna be okay. Don't talk back to people. But yeah.
All right. And Cadet Duncan, how about you? What would you have said to a younger Andrew?
I'd probably have to say, get up and go. Just stop sitting around, get up and go. Go do what you need to do. You always have something to do. Go do it. Don't procrastinate. Don't put things off. And be a little bit more mature, so then you wouldn't have to go through all the trouble.
There you go. Great answer. And how about Alfredo? What's something you would tell a younger Johan?
I probably wouldn't tell younger Johan anything because I like where I am right now. And really, if I hadn't made mistakes back in the day, I wouldn't have learned everything that I learned today about what I did. And really, here I learned not to be ashamed of your past, just to really look back at your past and notice that you made a mistake. There's nothing you can do about it, but really just what can you do now? What can you make a difference on? How can you make an impact?
All right. And Martin.
Besides all the things that they said, which were definitely great answers, just kind of to take a risk, and obviously not something too extreme, but just like take a risk, do something, join a club that you think, because I really wasn't a part of many extracurricular activities back at my public school, but just join a club, go there for the introductory meeting and just see if I like it, because here I found a lot of things that I never would have thought I would have enjoyed, that I definitely could have done back at my old school, and just to get out there and go get it.
All right. Well, guys, we're going to wrap it up with that. I want to thank all the viewers for joining us tonight for this live virtual open house talking about the future of these 4 young men. And guys, I'll tell you, you've made me proud. You've made Camden Military proud. And we're going to be anxiously following you on your next journey. So good luck to you all, even if you're going to a school, the predominant color is orange. All right. So again, thanks for joining us tonight from Camden. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us, admissions@camdenmilitary.com or camdenmilitary.com. Have all of our open houses as well listed. So we hope to see you either on the road or on campus very soon. And thanks for joining us. Good night.
Good night.